All right, guys, the ESPN era has started for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. This Saturday in Brooklyn, New York, we have TJ Dillashaw versus Henry Cejudo, and they're headlining UFC on ESPN +1. Now, Cejudo is defending his flyweight title against the bantamweight champ, who is going to leave that title off to the side and come down and contend for that flyweight title. That's the 125-pound division. Now, the odds are TJ Dillashaw is the favorite at -210. Henry Cejudo comes back as the underdog at about +175. Shop around, you know, you always want to get the best odds, whatever side you're on. Dan, Tom, nobody watches more film than you. Tell us, man, what do you see going down in this main event?
Well, I don't know how much longer I can keep that claim with this UFC schedule, but it's kicking off with a firecracker of a fight. You can't complain about this one. You got TJ Dillashaw dropping down a flyweight. Now that's a key for me, is the drop down a flyweight. Again, we can talk skills here, and the skills actually match up closer than some suspect. You know, Cejudo, he's only 1 year younger than Dillashaw, but he's young in fight miles. He's still progressing from fight to fight. He showed us that in his last few fights, especially in his last one, regardless of how you scored it. We saw some serious improvements from Cejudo. It's going to come down to countering and wrestling. Most people that have any success against TJ Dillashaw, they have to either be able to wrestle and defend the wrestling, and of course, counter strike. Those are the times when Dillashaw, for his aggressive style, the one criticism you can lay on it, a counter striker. Cejudo, not really the biggest counter striker, though. He's picked up that skill training with the Pitbull brothers. We've seen him use that more of a karate stance that he unveiled since that Wilson Hayes fight, so he can counter. But I'm interested to see if he makes it a dirty dog fight with the wrestling, because like I alluded to with the drop to flyweight, we got to see how he reacts. You know, before the question mark was on Cejudo, he has less championship round experience heading into this fight, but he showed he can keep pace with a guy like Demetrius Johnson. I think he can keep pace with the TJ Dillashaw. The question is, can TJ Dillashaw, back to my original point, with the drop to flyweight, how's he going to react? He's looking pretty slim on social media. It's got a lot of people worrying. That's the biggest question mark for me, guys. So I guess my prediction here, if you got a gun to my head, I'm going to go with Dillashaw, assuming he's got a good weight cut. I see him pulling away, maybe a late stoppage, earning himself a decision. But if not, I could see Cejudo coming to life in the later rounds and taking this fight from him.
Yeah, people are tripping on social media, man. Dillashaw, he's slowly been going down, but we just want him to have a safe weight cut. And if he can get down, I think that's going to be a big key, because we just don't know what he's like at 125. We don't know what he's like rehydrating after a cut down to 125. Cejudo's had his problems, but he seems to have fixed that. Hell, on social media, he's looking pretty rocked up as well. Now, you mentioned something about those takedowns, which that seemed to be what threw Demetrius Johnson off his game. He actually was able to get some of those like back trips. I mean, he had a variety of different takedowns, and he was relentless with them. He really went after it, and it showed me the heart of an Olympian. I mean, to get to that level, I think he was pulling out all the stops, and that's what it took against Demetrius Johnson, because you don't have to have Olympic caliber takedown defense. You just have to have the takedown defense to stop that type of wrestling in an MMA fight. There's so many different things that go into, you know, wrestling on the level of the Olympics versus just getting a takedown in an MMA fight. But Henry Cejudo was able to get some really tricky trips and takedowns. His pressure was amazing. Now, that said, I just think Dillashaw is the better all-around fighter, and I don't know if he can keep Dillashaw down, and I just think the fight will be contended more on the feet. I'll say this much. Had he not beaten Johnson, I think he'd beat Dillashaw. But because Dillashaw and his coach, Dwayne Bang Ludwig, one of the best at reviewing tape, they'll see this. I think they're going to find ways to keep Dillashaw even more active, even more on his bicycle, to just basically, you know, kickbox from the outside, not be a standstill fighter, and eventually get the win. I don't think he can knock him out, because I think it's going to be a chess match. Not to say they don't both have power. I just think it's going to go the distance, and I think that's how Dillashaw is going to win. How about you guys?
Man, Henry Cejudo can do something pretty phenomenal, guys, this weekend. We've already had champs, but we haven't had any who have a gold medal in their pocket. This can be big for combat sports. However, I don't think that it's going to happen. I really think what you said about strategy and TJ Dillashaw and Dwayne Bang Ludwig, I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of countering and a lot of footwork. I think the footwork is something that maybe will cause some problems for Henry Cejudo. So I'm going to pick TJ Dillashaw on this one, but I will say this. I can pull off a lot of maneuvers in my car, but if you put me in a rental, I probably can't do it. TJ Dillashaw is going to be in a rental car that night. He's never been at this weight. He's never had to go 5 rounds at this weight. He doesn't know how his body's really going to react, and that scares me a little bit. But I have confidence in him, and I think he will be the victor.
I also think he will make weight, and I think it's going to, you know, like nobody takes his craft, it seems like, as serious as TJ Dillashaw. That I have no doubt of, but you're right, it's the rehydration. What's he going to be like? Because TJ has been knocked out before. He's also been knocked down, and remember, a lot of that has to do with the rehydration of your brain, not just your body, but your brain. And Cejudo throws a lot harder than he did when he started in the sport of mixed martial arts. So, man, this is one of those fights that I wish you could almost do a breakdown on Friday and see if any of us have changed our mind, because it is going to be a really, really, really good competitive fight. But it sounds like we're all Team Dillashaw here.
But that means Cejudo's going to win when we're all on one side, guys. You know that, right?
Exactly. There you have it. We did our best. That is the breakdown for ESPN +1 on Saturday between Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw.